What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another week of the Three Things Podcast. Apologies for the hiatus. I don't want to say hiatus, but there was definitely a couple weeks there where we didn't have a podcast, had some scheduling things just rearrange, but no worries. I've got three in the hopper. This week, we've got Rob Aguero-Hoffman. If you've listened to the Three Things Podcast for any length of time, you know Rob has been a guest probably, four-ish times, and he's actually even been a guest host on the Three Things Podcast where he interviewed me. So if you like what Rob and I talk about today, you definitely got to go back and listen to other Rob Aguero-Hoffman pods. Rob is a gym owner of Lift Positive Fitness out in Beverly, Massachusetts. So if you are in the Shore, I don't even know if it like North Shore, North Boston area, definitely check it out. It's a sweet gym. Rob's a great coach. And Rob and I, another tidbit about Rob and I also co-host a podcast together called the Healthy Parent Podcast. So if you like the riff, the attitude, the sass that Rob and I have for each other on this pod, you got to go check out the Healthy Parent Podcast, available on all platforms. And if you know anyone, parent in particular, who is looking for just some good quality, real information on health, fitness, and nutrition, send them on over to the Healthy Parent Podcast. It's been a lot of fun. Rob and I have done probably 30-ish episodes. We started it in the middle of 2020. It's kind of just something to do with the time we had with gyms being closed and whatnot. So we've started it. We will keep doing it. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. Obviously, the Three Things is my number one. The Healthy Parent Pod is kind of like my side hustle, side projects, another one. I mean, a lot of side projects going on right now. But Healthy Parent Pod, Three Things, Rob Aguero-Hoffman, we crush it. Second thing to let you know before the pod gets started here is I've got a free download. That's right, free download on the website. Ooh, not in the podcast, but on the website, www.purposefulstrength.com. Head over there, download three workouts for when you don't want to work out. If you've been following me, I appreciate that, but you know I've been in a rut. These workouts have helped me get my training in and keep progress moving forward, which has helped me climb out of that rut. So head over to purposefulstrength.com, download those suckers, check them out. There'll be a show note link here as well. So that's what I got going on. Rob Aguero-Hoffman on the pod, 3 free workouts on the website. Hope you guys enjoy it. Check it out. Other side of this music. Here comes Rob. Get ready to Rob Aguero-Hoffman.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Three Things Podcast. Do you want to give people a little brief introduction? Because it's been too long.
For sure, man. So I am Rob Aguero-Hoffman. I own a small semi-private personal training studio just north of Boston in a town called Beverly. We're right next to Salem, Massachusetts, for those people that know what's up with the witch trials and whatnot.
Nice.
Let's see. I've been a coach for 17, almost 18 years now. A long time. I got a little guy at home who is taking a nap currently while we record this podcast. He's coming up on 5 months. And what should I tell him, dude? Other than that, Casey and I have been brothers from another mother for a very long time. But yeah, I was going to say
the first 2. I think this is pod 3 for you.
So this is the third one that you're the host. But remember, we did the Flip the Script too, where I hosted your podcast to interview you. Yes. So this will be my 4th. I still don't think I'm not quite at Moljo's, podcast. What guest level, but we're getting there. I'm catching up, man. I'm coming for you, John. I'm coming for you.
I think you're number 2. I think he's the current resident. He's
yeah.
I
mean, it is what it is. You guys have known each other forever.
I should get him to mix the intro song for this.
Oh, there you go. He's a pretty gnarly DJ. I saw he was all through quarantine. He's just DJing from the gym, which was pretty dope. So, I mean, hey, that's awesome, man.
Shout out to Moljo.
Yes.
So for those that are new, because they're like, well, wow, look at this thumbnail, look at this handsome man, Rob Aguero Hoffman. What is the Three Things podcast? The Three Things refers to the three things that I'm going to ask Rob. I say questions, but they're probably more prompts at this point.
By the way, are we videoing this? You're saying the thumbnail, or are you just talking about what comes up
like
on
the
Facebook?
Picture when I put up the cover art? And people
and I'm fine with the video. I'm just saying. You know, normally I think I look a lot better. Today I've got the dad vibes going, where the bags under the eyes are real right now from the 2 a.m. wake up.
So real. I guess this is gonna be peak Rob then. But Rob literally doesn't know what we're talking about. I'm just gonna throw him three things. We're gonna chat, and we'll spawn from there. And then if his kid wakes up, then I'm leaving it in. So
by the way, I if I can plug really quick, I realized I said I own a small gym just north of Beverly. I don't think I even said the name of the gym. This is
you
how
should
tired
say
I am.
the name. Yeah,
the name of the gym is called Lift Positive Fitness. So for those of you that might be in Boston or the north of Boston area, and I'm sure you'll see from the headshot that Casey will put up, it'll say Lift Positive on my hat here. That's actually the name of the gym that I own.
That's an important piece. I totally glossed over that.
You know, hey, look, whatever, man. Marketing is not my strong suit.
I'm just super excited to talk to you. I should probably make sure all the vital information. I'll make sure it's in the show notes too. I'm not worried.
I'm not worried
than I am at the actual interview. Although I am the Oprah of fitness conversations.
The Oprah or the Oprah?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Yeah, so you're like a slimy, delicious vegetable as well as a very thoughtful interviewer.
You think I could get Kevin Larrabee on?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm going to be like, listen, I understand you might have longevity in the fitness space and podcasts.
Do we want to start a rivalry on air?
I kind of want to.
Because Kevin's a good buddy.
I know.
Kevin's a buddy of mine. I could get him on.
He's a really nice guy.
Oh, he's the man. Kevin is an awesome dude. I love Kevin. He's a very awesome, super helpful, like great guy. We can make this happen. Kevin, I'm sure you're listening to this already.
Yeah, totally.
Because I know you listen to the Three Things podcast. I don't know if you do, but if you don't, you should. And then Kevin, we're gonna get a little thing up. Maybe we do a podcast debate where I'm the moderator, since I'm friends with both of you.
I think that would be amazing.
Let's do that.
Three Things Cast crossover. Let's make that happen. Rob Aguero Hoffman, are you ready for the first thing?
I think so. I'm usually ready. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll find out.
I literally just wrote a newsletter. It's being sent. It just went out 1 minute ago.
I actually already read it.
Yeah. So it's good. You'll know what's coming. Why can't we choose? Like, I think we should, but why are people afraid of easy? Right? Like, I'm not saying like easy, like the easy way out or fitness hacks or any of that dumb shit that I think people are always searching for. But I literally, in a little bit of context, I literally gave a client a new program yesterday, and they're looking through it, doing checking it out. I'm like, what do you think? They're like, I love it. This looks amazing. It just looks easy. And that wasn't like a positive. They weren't like, oh, I love it. It's going to be like, it's easy. It's like they were disappointed that it didn't have like some like weird exotic set and rep scheme shit. Like it didn't have like complex exercises. It was a very standard like workout, that probably makes more sense to you. People who are listening to this that aren't trainers, I don't understand how it can look different, but like, it was just like, it was a program. And I felt like they were genuine when they were like, it looks awesome. Like super pumped. It looks awesome. But then they're like, it looks easy. Like they were concerned. Like this actually looks like it's going to be easy. And I was kind of like taken aback, and I was like, well, why can't it be easy? Why does it have to be hard? So maybe that's a better way to throw this question, but like, why it doesn't have to be hard, and like, or it just has to be hard enough. So maybe take the question however you want, but why is that hard for people?
So this is a very multifactorial thing.
Wow,
but this is interesting because like, this is something I have dealt with a lot through my career and has spawned a lot of thought through my career.
Yep.
So like when you wrote the thing, I was like, yes, awesome, Casey. But I think that I think the thing is, so I'm going to start with this. Like, I think where the confusion lies is the term easy is not necessarily, and I could be wrong here, but I don't know that that's necessarily even what you mean. I think what you mean is simple. And simple and easy different to me. Like easy is kind of like you were talking about, like the easy way out. And again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, because it's sort of like easy might be intensity, right? Where like the workout intensity isn't very high, and that's okay too, right? But I think when clients look at it and they say easy, what they really mean is simple, in that like something isn't, the exercises we're giving them aren't complex. You're doing the same, maybe you're doing the same exercise you were doing before, and they feel like that there should be some marker of progress for them. And progress in I think in a lot of our clients' minds means something different. Like I'm evolving every time I'm capable to do something completely different the next time. And that and so that kind of bleeds into the second part of it, which is that like everybody's expecting to have really fast changes or adaptations all the time, right? And if we're not, this idea that if I'm not changing, right, if I'm not getting better, I'm standing still, or I'm not like, I'm not making progress, is I think the second part of it, right? People always want to be able to look at metrics and be like, look, I'm losing weight, or I'm getting stronger in my lifts, or I'm running faster, or I can run longer, or whatever those things are. And their only way of when it comes to when it comes to our exercise programming, like, because it's not endurance based, right? We're keeping track of their weight loss if they're a weight loss client, but when you send them a program, it's not like, this is the weight every week that you weigh. These are the exercises you do. And so for them, I think part of their way of measuring progress is often like, well, is this exercise more complicated than the last one, right? Like, last time I did just a regular split squat. Why am I doing split squats again? I should be doing reverse lunges, or I should be doing lateral lunges, or step ups, or something more complicated, because I want to be able to do the cool thing, like, and then the end of the day, like that split squat, if we're adding weight to it, can be a lot more challenging or a lot more beneficial, I think the other part of it is that we think, again, thinking of the idea of like constantly trying to make progress, right? It's like making progress for the sake, or like making change for the sake of that, or that's not the right word. That's not the term. And again, this is part of the dad brain going right now, but I think it's the idea of that progress comes from constant change, right? Which is not the case, because in the reality, like, who sees better results when working towards any goal? It's the person that's consistent, you know what I mean? More than anything, day in and day out. And in order to maintain consistency, we've got to, and this kind of comes back to the easy part of it, which is that we've got to be working at either a moderate intensity for long periods of time, or we've got to be working at higher intensities and then lower intensities, so that we can recover higher and lower, higher and lower. And whichever one of those two routes you go is fine, but your body has to be able to recover. You can't just run yourself into the ground and think that your body's going to adapt to it. Like, you don't give it the opportunity to adapt. And that's where people get injured. They get banged up, they get exhausted. Their body stops doing what, they want it to do, whether it's weight loss or muscle building or improving endurance or whatever it is. Like, eventually that stuff comes to a standstill because you're not recovering from it. And then they give up, you know what I mean? But again, people that have been doing this for long periods of time are typically the ones achieving the things that everybody else is looking at, being like, man, I wish I could do that. Well, how did they get there? Like, they kept doing the simple thing over and over and over again, and perfecting it over and over and over again. So I think that's like, those, like I said, are a couple big things there. But I think that's, like I said, that's, to me at least, that's the big kind of overarching theme with, why people are sort of afraid of easy. And there's a couple other things that I know I thought of and then kind of went through my head and went right back out. So I'm sure I can elaborate on that a little bit more too. But like, I think hopefully I get people get the point of that.
Yeah. I just want, and this is something I had a really good question from a young lady that I was doing a new member orientation with at our gym. And I was like, at the end, I was like, do you have any like follow-up questions you'd like to ask? She's like, yeah, like, what's just some general advice that you would give someone new to the gym? And I was like, it's a really good question. And then I was like, one, like, your consistency matters. And then two, don't be afraid of easy. Like it, like whether it's so easy to go, like if it seems easy, like that's not a bad thing. Right. Like, and I think in fitness, sometimes we use the phrase, like, if it's too easy, like, you know what, you're not doing enough.
This was the other, okay, so this was the other thing, and I completely forgot about this last factor. And this is sort of the input that we get as people who like to work out.
Yeah.
And this is, I feel like a lot of times we bash the media and whatever, but in reality, that's what it is. Because when we see fitness or we think of fitness, all we think of is the most hardcore, extreme images of whatever it is. Even if it's like yoga, it's the person that can literally turn themselves into a pretzel. That's what makes them healthy, right? And so like everything has to be these extremes, and so there is no room from all the input that you're getting for easy, right? Like, but the reality is like none of the people we train are trying to be like, an Olympic athlete, a professional football player. Like easy is fine for you. Easy is totally fine for you.
Yeah,
easy, because past easy for most people is the thing that gets them hurt.
Yeah, that's the line of the pod right there, man. Like it's just, she kind of looked at me, and this is a younger girl, like she's in high school, and she's kind of like, really, like that was her face, kind of made like a face. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, like we all know like we should be working out, like quote unquote, like exercising, working out, training, whatever, like 3 to 5 days a week, if not doing something every day, right? You're like, movement every day. And like the best way to do something every day is to make it easy, or find a way for it to be easy in your schedule, in your life, etc. Like why it doesn't need to be more than that, right? Like the same with nutrition. Like if you can, and that's why everyone loves this, like simplify this, simplify that. Like we simplify things to try to make it easy. Yeah. And then, it just factors the whole.
Yeah, I think simple and easy, like I said, simple and easy, I think are different, but very similar. There's a lot of layover there. And that's that intersection between the two is generally where the good stuff happens for a lot of folks,
And I just want to I'll start the 3 things on that.
I love it,
Rob,
dude.
amazing answer.
I love it. Because you know what, honestly, if you didn't bring it up, I was gonna at some point, because I had just literally, like, you were like, let's do this podcast, and I said, awesome, shoot me the link. And as I was looking for the link for it, I read your newsletter that came out, and I was like, all right, perfect, dude. So I know if we don't talk about easy, I'm gonna find a way to work it in there, because I got some thoughts right now kind of running through my head. So
golden,
baby.
Like, what newsletter is this, Casey?
Well, I feel like, I was going to say, I feel like lately I've been listening to your podcast and you've been plugging it pretty good. So if people don't know what this is, that's a damn shame. But if you don't, get on Casey's Purposeful Strength podcast email, or is it just the Purposeful Strength newsletter? I'm sorry.
It's the newsletter.
It's the Purposeful Strength newsletter. Yeah. And really what it is it's fitness related stuff, but this is not targeted marketing newsletter where, like, at the end of it, Casey's trying to pitch you. So come train with me, and we've got 2 spots left, and blah, 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 blah. This is just Casey giving you good, solid, quick advice that's digestible, that you can take action on. I mean, I'm a coach and I love his newsletter. So if you're just an average fitness enthusiast, you're going to get a lot out of it.
And I did not pay Rob to say anything.
Plug done.
I appreciate it. I'll put the link in the show notes. My good friends who are listening.
Booyakasha.
Rob, we hinted on this on, I think maybe the Healthy Parent Pod.
Okay.
There's a Healthy Parent Podcast question, specifically number 3.
Okay.
But this one is for the trainers. All y'all trainers out there listening, where do trainers miss on new client assessments or intake process? And because I say this because Rob has shared his with me. I have politely stole it.
Yeah, you can swipe
emphasis
that,
on stolen goods, me.
Yeah.
But Rob's intake is pretty dialed. Like I work in a commercial gym. I help 17 personal trainers intake their clients. Obviously I'm sure Rob has gotten tips and pieces along the way from other people, but Rob's process is pretty dialed. So, just Rob, where do trainers miss? Like, what are they not doing? Or maybe I'll rephrase it. What's the biggest thing that you've done that you missed on in the past?
So 2 different questions, 2 different answers. For me, this is the funny part is, like, I feel like I'd always been pretty good at the thing that I think most trainers miss at, which is connecting and building rapport with the person in front of you. And I mean, like, and actually caring about the person in front of you. I feel like that, not to pat myself on the back, but that's something that I really, pride myself on. That being said, sometimes, that can turn an assessment that's supposed to be an hour and 15 minutes into 3 hours because we're just talking and getting to know each other for so long. I'm a great bullshitter, as Casey knows, and anybody who's listening to this who has heard me before knows. But I do think like really building rapport and, getting to know the person that's sitting in front of you is really important. I think way too often new trainers are so focused on the X's and O's of a movement assessment, of a this, of a that like they're not actually listening to what's really going on with the person in front of them, why they're coming to you for help. And they're not digging in and asking the questions that maybe might feel uncomfortable to ask, but are really, really important, because this is how we can help people, stay committed to what they're doing. And also more importantly, like help them understand that we're like, we're there for them. You know what I mean? So some of the stuff that I do, maybe this is a better example, like some of the stuff I do through my assessment is outside of just, your basic health questionnaire type stuff, is I really try to dig into, what are some of the things, like what are the goals that they have for themselves long-term? Like if we were looking back a year from now, like where do they want to be? What are some of the things that they feel like are roadblocks that could be getting in their way? And to then double down and ask a lot of questions about, well, why do we want these things? Why is that important to us? Like what do you feel like you would get out of this if you were to achieve those goals? Like how would your life be different? Like things like that, whatever they are. And then also we double down, and we've talked about this a lot, but like I try to really help people come up with strategies for when they're not with me, even right off the bat after that first initial assessment, of how to navigate stuff that has usually been, problematic for them. So whether it's coming up with like a monthly habit of, whatever it is, maybe their goal is to increase their water intake from 4 glasses of water a day to 6 or 7, and okay, well, let's come up with a strategy. Let's check in every time I see you. Let's see how we're doing with these habits, and help them kind of, like I said, whatever it is, navigate that 23 hours of the day that they don't see me, to help them make progress, but also more importantly, to make sure that they're feeling positive and like that they're making strides towards better health. I think I'm much less concerned with what the optimal, thing is for people, rather than and much more concerned with, well, just what can we do a little bit better than we're doing right now, right? Like, so some people again, the water thing's a perfect example. People, well, how much water should I drink today? I don't know. How much are you drinking now? Do you feel like you should drink a little bit more water? Cool. Then let's make it something that you can do, rather than me telling you what the optimal number is supposed to be, because, that could be overwhelming and you might not hit it anyway. Like, but if you're drinking a little bit more, cool, then we're making progress. That's better than you were last time. Same thing with, well, how many days a week should I work out? Well, how many days a week are you working out now? What's realistic for you? Like, what's the bare minimum look like? And then kind of going from there. So I think a couple of those things, like, maybe it comes down to just asking better questions, of the person in front of you. But really, I think that all comes back to caring a lot about the folks that are in front of you, and really caring and trying to get to know them and build rapport with them, and not so much worrying about, I need to take this person on as a client right away. Like, what can I do to get them signed up? How can I show them, what's wrong with them in a movement assessment, or how can I put them through the hardest workout ever so that, they feel like, oh man, that was so hard. I sweat so much. I felt like I was going to throw up, whatever, you know what I mean? Kind of thing.
So
it must be a good workout. Like,
I'm so glad you just said that last piece right there.
Well, it's a common thing though. I think a lot of people think that the way that they're going to, it's a common thing for new trainers. The way that they're going to convince somebody to work out with them is to put them through the hardest workout ever. Because if it's really hard, and this goes back to what you were just talking about in point 1, if it's really hard, it must be good. It must be great. And the truth is, like, the average person that you're going to see, if you work with Gen Pop clients, yeah, some of them might be looking for that really intense workout, but they're not, to be totally honest, your workout being really hard to them, if that's the only thing you have going for yourself, making a really hard workout for somebody, that's not going to set you apart from the next, like from the Orange Theory down the street, or, you know, from the Peloton spin app or whatever, because all those things are hard to do too, right? And people can push themselves so hard that they feel like they're sweating a lot and whatever. Like, what's going to set you apart is your ability to connect with that person, and for them to see themselves being successful with you as the guide. You're like, you know, or more importantly, like them being the kind of the hero in their journey, and you being that sort of like, if they're Luke Skywalker, you're Yoda, or Obi-Wan, you're not Luke Skywalker, you're not the hero of this thing, right? But when you understand that a little bit better, I think that's important. Plus, I mean, again, you know, going back to the Gen Pop person, like I think there's a small percentage of people that want a really hard workout, but again, your connection is going to be the thing that trumps, you know, your bond with them over the Peloton people. And the rest of the people, if they're really sore, they're worried they got hurt. They don't want to work out with you. They think that you just beat them up. Like, and they're like, oh yeah, he's a really nice guy, but I don't know. I couldn't walk for like a week. That was like, my legs hurt so bad. I think maybe I got injured or something like that. Cause they don't know the difference between being really, really sore and being injured. And realistically, like that general population person who's just trying to lose 10 pounds and be able to keep up with their kids doesn't need to be that sore anyways. They don't need to work that hard either way. Like they need to work, you know, but you need to meet them where they're at. So, sorry, I feel like I crammed a lot of stuff into
I
that.
will say this, go back like 5 minutes, listen to that, because if you're a trainer, and like a couple things just to kind of pull out of there, Rob. One, if you're not working on if your assessment isn't individualized to the person that you're with, right? Like you heard Rob say, like working on that person to create a monthly habit, listening to what that person really needs. Like if you're jamming an assessment down their throat that has nothing to do with them, you're missing something. Something is not right. And if
you're missing, I'd say you're missing more than something. You're missing a lot of things. You know what I mean? But yeah, the point is like, there's a lot that you're leaving on the table there, and a lot of the way that you would actually get them to sign up as a client with you.
And the second thing is, Rob, and I do this as well. Like you said, like sometimes it could take like up to 3 hours or someone. I think maybe that's like, it might happen once in a while, but I tell people the assessment is as long as it needs to be.
Yeah.
You know, like it can be as short as you need it to be if you got to go do something. But if you're like, you know, if we're vibing, we're going to vibe. Like,
yeah,
you know, like that's what it is. Like it. And I think that when people fall into this pressure of, I need to make this sale, I need this person is a dollar bill for me. Like, man, those people get aired out real quick. Like they don't last in the industry. There's something up with that. Like maybe the organization they're in, you know, like if you're someone listening to this and you're with a trainer that has not asked you about like your goals or what you need to get out of this or what you want to get out of it, red flag. Rob and I did an episode on literally just like I don't forget what we called it, but it was like run away from your trainer.
It was like identifying like good and bad trainers or something like that.
Yeah, like
because as parents we got limited cash flow, right? So we
limited cash flow, limited time
and limited cash flow. Can I give a quick suggestion to the new trainers that are listening to this here? So this is something I started doing recently, but I think that this, even if you work in a big box commercial gym, you know, unless you met the person in person there, you know, like on the floor or something like that, in which case you build some rapport. But a lot of times with people, like, especially if you have initial consultation, and I would imagine right now, like I remember working at the gym, some of the time, like maybe like 40 to 50% of the time, the lead that would come in on the idea of like an initial consultation would either be a phone call in for somebody looking for a trainer, or maybe it'd be somebody that signed up at the gym recently who goes to one of the membership salespeople or one of the general manager and says, hey, I'm looking for a trainer. And if you're that person that gets referred there, grab their contact info. And here's what I'd say is, everybody's used to virtual stuff at this point. Before you actually do your in-person assessment with them, set up a time to do either a phone call or a Zoom call for 20 minutes just to chat. You know what I mean? Like before you even send them any paperwork, anything like that, because that's your opportunity to start to build some rapport. Just get to know them a little bit, like just like it would be if you were like meeting that person out on the actual training floor. And you're talking to them just briefly about, what are your goals, this or that, and ask lots of questions, like lots and lots of questions as you go through that, but just take that opportunity to just get to know each other. You know what I mean? This is not your time to sell them on you training, sell them on the assessment. They're already going to do that with you. Just take some time to get to know them, kind of like when you first meet somebody at a party and you're just chit-chatting with them, small talk kind of thing. Afterwards, if you can, send over like through a PDF or something like that, all the initial paperwork that they need to fill out, and have them fill it out and send it back to you before you come in. So this is one way that I find I cut a lot of time out, because often it's me sitting there asking them, the questions that are on the sheet before, and then doubling down and asking all the follow-up questions that I like to ask, right? And that's, again, we've already got some rapport going now. So they feel comfortable answering a lot of this stuff now with me, because we had already had that in-person call. And as we go through, now I have the paperwork to look through, so I can actually prep the questions that I want to ask them, or at least a couple questions that I want to ask them, to dig in deeper on the initial, like, kind of answers that they gave on the paperwork, right? So somebody says, oh, what are your goals? I'm sorry, the paperwork says, what are your goals? And they say weight loss. Now I know, okay, I can take a couple seconds to dive in and like, well, why weight loss? Like, how much weight are we talking about? Why is it important to you? Like, what's going to change about your life if you lose X amount of pounds or this or that? And I have all those questions prepped. So now I can kind of go through it when they come in for their assessment. Be like, hey, I just wanted to ask a couple quick follow-up questions before we get on the floor and move around, if that's all right with you. And then dive into all of those things and do, if you want to do the habit stuff, do that then, and now all of a sudden, like, you've had even more time. They really feel like, okay, he really looked over his paperwork and like took the time to carefully like try to understand me here, because I've met him now a couple times. Like, there's rapport. This is not foreign. Their guard as a new person is going to be down now. And you have the ability to kind of really get the goods out of them now at that point. So, I mean, that's just like a way to do a little bit of like work ahead of time that will make things a lot easier for you. And I also know, like, as a trainer who's got sessions booked back to back to back, if you're sneaking an assessment in for an hour and 15 minutes, and the assessment goes 3 hours, like, the rest of your day, like, you either have to cut it off halfway through an assessment, be like, let's book another session afterwards to do this free consultation. Or you've got to start canceling clients that are paying you for time, like neither, so find ways to kind of maximize that. I think that's a big thing,
Big tip right there. That's a big one.
Pro tip.
That's one I wish I knew like 10 years ago, man. Like, I would I would be jamming if I mean, it's so funny. Like,
me too, Casey, me too.
like I look back, like, over the last 2 years, specifically 2019 and even 2020 probably even greater than 2019.
Yeah.
I have like just understanding systems, like, in my own business, everything from just like how, like, it's like, and I was talking about this on a call earlier with Bill Parisi, actually. Like,
oh boy,
the amount of people that don't
name drop,
big name drop. Everyone on this pod being like, who the fuck's Bill Parisi? Literally, probably everyone on this podcast. Like,
just Casey's boss. No
yeah. And it's just the amount of people, trainers, any business really, that don't have systems, like the most basic systems. I'm like, how do you do it? Like, how have you lasted? Like, I'm like, I look at the things that I used to do and I'm like, oh my God, if I had done this different, like
well, I'll tell you what I think is the case. And this is something, again, this might go all the way to the beginning of like the ways that we fail new coaches and trainers when they first get into the industry, which is like, we don't talk about systems. When people would say systems to me all the time, business systems, you know what I thought of? I thought of like, you're talking about
register.
Yeah. I thought it was like, you're talking about the booking software we use. Like, how do I book sessions? Like, I just go into my laptop and I select, okay, this person's coming in that. Like, I don't know what you mean, like what people meant by systems, so to speak. Right. And I don't think a lot of new trainers really do. I think now, like, systems is a buzzword that a lot of people try to throw around there, but they don't really understand what they're actually talking about with it. Like, I have a system, like, what's the system? And I'm like,
or it's not written
into the session, or
the system exists between their ears.
Yeah. And again, and that, look, it's got to start somewhere. It's got to, what I mean? But putting it to paper actually makes a huge difference. That was the case for me too. And often, like, it's refining said systems by, like, after I look at it on paper, I'm like, oh shit, you know what? There's a bunch of stuff that I could be doing between this step and this step in the process that would make things either easier, more streamlined, better for my prospective client, like add more value to them, like all these different kinds of stuff. And that's the beauty of putting it on paper, right? Is like all of a sudden it's a lot easier to organize the thought process, because when it's in your head, it still sort of feels like that like brainstorm session where shit's just like on a whiteboard with like bubbles and lines, everywhere. And like, you're like, I don't know.
I have a whiteboard like that.
Yeah. Dude, hey, look, and those are great too. Very important. In my passion planner, that's what half of those pages look like. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think part of it is like, we don't even understand as new trainers what systems are, right? And then, or if we think of systems, the first thought that we have when it comes to systems, and this isn't a bad thing, but we think of, our training systems, like how we go about writing programs for people, which again, with new trainers, often I feel like new programs is just really workouts is what we're talking about. And workouts is like what I wrote down 5 minutes before a session, but that's a whole other, I feel like that's another podcast topic. That's a whole other thing altogether.
Let's prevent the trigger warnings. Let's
right. But again, but with systems, what we're talking about is everything from like lead generation, follow-up, referral systems, like how do you keep your business afloat, and what are the things that you can do to grow and expand your business as a trainer, as a coach, or whatever. And maybe, Casey's a perfect example of this probably, but like if you're working in a big box gym of any sort, commercial gym or whatever, and your goal is to grow within the company, like, how can you create systems to not only make yourself a better trainer and a better coach and more clients, et cetera, but then can you take those systems and extrapolate them to the rest of the gym that you're in or the company that you're in? And there's a way for you to get some upward mobility, right? Because then people above you are like, oh, that's a great idea. We're not doing this. Yeah, this is a great reason to promote so-and-so to a new position. But if you're just a coach who's training 20 sessions a week or something like that, and, and you're looking to move up in your business, like if you don't have a plan as to how you go about doing that, like what value do you have, Anyway. So systems are important. Yes.
A good second. I'll say this.
Yeah, there you go. Boom.
This is one of the more informative pods that I've done recently. So
this is weird because like I'm super tired right now, and all of a sudden, like, but I'm tired, but I'm like, again, I'm drinking one of probably 2 energy drinks and a coffee today. Like it's gonna be. Come see me at 4:00. I'm gonna be lit. I'm gonna be downstairs in the Iron Kingdom.
Yes.
Oh man, I got to show you that. So Casey and I have also, on one of our podcasts talked about home gyms. And I think Casey's the last podcast that I heard you release from 3 Things, you talked a little bit about home gyms because one of your buddies had asked that question. Yep. So Casey knows we've been creating, even though I own a gym that I worked out at 99% of the time, we've been creating a little basement gym of our own for me and my wife. And it's all coming together, dude. It's all coming together.
I look forward to the video.
I'm also building a deadlift platform because as somebody who's a powerlifter, like, that's important to me. And also it'll kind of noise reduce a little bit of my loud deadlifts. But as a result, we decided I'm going to go ahead and actually like create a logo and a name for the gym, which we did on Canva, called the Iron Kingdom. We live off of a place called Kingdom Terrace. I'm not going to tell you my exact address because I don't need crazies who listen to 3 Things showing up.
There's definitely a few.
I was going to say, there's going to be some new trainers that didn't like what I said about systems or whatever. And all of a sudden they're going to show up at my house and challenge me to a deadlift competition that they're going to lose. And it's just going to get weird, Yeah, but so we've literally got most of the stencil for the logo done on the platform. And then it's just going to be a matter of like staining it later today or tomorrow and then putting a clear coat over it. And boom, this thing's going to be, it's going to be fire. Sexy. It's going to be sexy.
Wow.
I gotta. So here's another one for you, dude. I was looking because I'm part of this like Facebook group about like, home gyms or whatever. And our lighting in the basement sucks. So we're going to have to change some of that. But I saw some LED strip lights that change colors, and they change colors. One of the systems sets up that it changes colors to sound or music. So like if you're bumping a jam, you're going to get flashing different colors, all based on the sound coming from the speaker. So like if you really want to have the rave cave, this is your go-to. And I think it's like $40 on Amazon for these strip lights, dude. So anyways, pro tip.
I'm getting a full strobe light.
You are? Dude, I feel like I'd have like a seizure doing that. Like that wouldn't be good. You can't be doing that while you're deadlifting. That's going to be, I don't know if you're deadlifting, but whatever. You can't be doing that.
I'm not deadlifting.
That's going to be too much.
Rob, and this is a good segue to
RDLs.
This is a great segue to the third thing.
Yes.
But with deadlifts, I would wake. My child is such a light sleeper. There's no way
Yeah.
I'm touching the ground with any weights.
Yeah.
I have power block dumbbells, and I get nervous whenever like the metal like chinks together. So third thing,
Yeah.
since you've had, like, what would be your best tip? And this is, I mean, if you want more tips, people, Healthy Parent Podcast.
Yes. Casey and I co-host a podcast
Like
together.
all platforms, check it out.
Yes.
And
although you said something was up with the Spotify, I don't know why it's not.
Couldn't find it on Spotify. That might just.
Well, we'll work on that. Yeah. We'll see what. But for anybody else, iTunes, it's definitely on.
Healthy Parent Podcast.
Yeah, so just so you guys, in case you weren't listening, the name of the podcast is the Healthy Parent Podcast.
Rob Aguero Hoffman, DJ Rob Hoff, Spicy
DJ Murder Tank.
DJ Murder Tank, inside jokes. Listen.
Yeah, we
bloop, bloop, bloop,
yes.
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to. But there are updates with that, and they're not good.
Cannot wait. Thursday cannot come soon enough. Rob, what would be your best advice for a new parent? Or I'll say this, just someone who has found themselves short on time.
Yes.
People tell me when they work from home, like, you know, that they work more from home than they do when they're in the office, which it's crazy, but
it's so true though, man.
I don't know. I don't have this problem. I
have a lot of clients that work from home still right now. And I've had more of the people that work from home having to cancel. And I think a couple things happen is like, because you're not in an office, sometimes boundaries get crossed where you know, they either bosses or superiors don't think that they're really working out hard, or like they can just fire off time, whatever, because you don't have a concept of when people need to be out of the building or what, you know, even that kind of stuff, or time when you need to be in the building. And so I think there's a couple of different issues there. But I do find people also feeling like when there's not a physical separation of home and work, you know, it can be like work is happening all the time. Like I know that for me as a business owner who works from home sometimes as well, like it's hard for me to find a way to like shut it off, if you will, you know what I mean, through the day. But anyways, sorry. So for people that are short on time or
like a new parent, whatever, like what would be your, and maybe this is something you've done, what would be a rock solid tip from you, DJ Rob Hoff, on navigating that situation?
Are you talking about in regards to finding time to exercise or
anything? Take it anywhere you want. If it's finding time, style of training, like what has helped you in your situation get it in, get it done? Is it a mindset? Is it a change in training? Is it building the gym at home? Is it both? Is it just options? Like there's so many ways you can take it.
There's a lot of things.
The floor is yours.
There's a lot of things. I'll say this. I am very blessed to own and work at my gym physically, right? So I can get my work when I'm there. You know, often either my parents or my in-laws are watching the baby, or Liz is at home, and then I have my days where I'm at home, etc. So when I'm at physically at the gym, often it's not too hard for me to be able to get my workout in, unless the day itself has been really, really crazy. That being said, I try to minimize the amount of workouts. If I'm kind of off season, like there's no meet coming up, I'm not like, you know, I try to keep my workouts at 3 to 4 times a week. And that's probably a lot for most people. So I would suggest 2 to 3 times a week. I would prioritize my workouts as early in the week as I possibly can and kind of look through my schedule and see what gaps I might have. So if you have like a scheduler that you use or something like that, whether it's like a passion planner or like just like a thing from Staples that has like, you know, like an appointment book or whatever, look through that, find the holes that you have where maybe you could get your workouts in, even if it's just 30 minutes, plan them, stack them earlier in the week if you can, and then block off those other times later in the week. So that way, if shit pops up, you can go ahead and flex it to another time. And then find ways to simplify and make easy, like we were just talking about, your workouts. So even if it's like you're somebody like me who likes to lift heavy things, like pick them up, put them down, plan out your programming accordingly. Don't make the entire squat part of your workout 45 minutes long. You know what I mean? 15, 20 minutes, you know, warm up, get in, get your work in, and get out. And then if you have time, let's say, you know, you're working out at home, for example, and the baby is still sleeping. Cool. Then get your assistants working, but at least you've got the big stuff that you need to. So prioritize the things that are important as far as your workout goes too. You know, find the little spaces in time and understand that, you're going to have to be flexible with that, because shit is going to pop up. Like Casey and I were laughing about this the other week when we were talking about things, that mistakes new parents make and things like that. And one of them is, or people that aren't parents, like bad advice that we give and get. And one of them is that, people will often tell us it's a time management issue that we're not. And I was like the biggest culprit of that until I became a parent, like thinking like, oh, well, the reason you can't get your workouts in, as a parent, is just like poor time management. Like you need to do a better job of scheduling. Like, yeah, that kid, he runs my schedule. Like he's in charge of that no matter what. If he decides he's not going to sleep or he's only going to sleep for 20 minutes, like that's what it is. Like it is what it is. And so trying to find that window to get in my workout, sometimes it's breaking everything up, like, but I think that's the first part. So finding, kind of like I said, finding the chunks of time that you can work out or you can get your fitness in, and then finding alternative times, fallback times, if you will, that you can get it in, is very helpful. The second part of it is, if you miss stuff, dust yourself off. Let's say you miss a workout and you were really planning on getting that workout in, but it just didn't work. Boss was, calling you to stay up until 11 o'clock at night working on some project for people in Japan. I don't know, whatever's going on. I don't know. It just popped in my head.
Keep going.
We're going to run with the Japan thing. That's what we're going with. Whatever it is, right? Like at the end of the day, like I think the other part of it is learning to forgive yourself for like missing workouts or maybe not eating great one day or whatever that stuff is, not meal prepping when you thought you could, is important. And it's not to say that like, okay, you just like, it's okay that I didn't eat like crap, and then it's okay tomorrow that I don't eat well, and it's okay the next day that I don't. But it's like, if you can forgive yourself the one time, it's a lot easier to get back up on the horse. You know what I mean? Like dust yourself off, get back on the horse at 3, and and the next day is a new day. If you're constantly beating yourself up about, I can't believe I missed this thing, it's stress, it's anxiety, it's going to impede your ability to recover from workouts. It's also probably going to be a thing that keeps you feeling shitty about yourself and then leads you down the path of making poorer and poorer decisions anyways, right? Like how many times have we seen the person who's like, well, I had 5 Guys burgers for lunch today, so fuck it. And they just throw their cards up in the air and order pizza later that night. And then it becomes the whole spiral for like the weekend until Mondays when I get back on my diet. Like, whereas you could have just been like, all right, I had my 5 Guys today. Well, we're going to go back and have, whatever that we were going to eat later, turkey chili or something like that. Like you make a healthy choice, whatever it is, So I think learning to forgive yourself for that time and understanding that like, shit pops up last second and it's okay. That's life. That's fine. None of us are, I don't think, listening to this are super highly competitive athletes. Maybe there's probably a lot of coaches and stuff like that. And often a lot of us coaches think we're still athletes. No, we're not, not anymore. Amateur athletes at best. But I mean, no, that's not to say there aren't some. Like I know you had one of your buddies who's like a competitive strongman on here, works at Parisi. Like he's an athlete. You know what I mean? Yeah. I like to powerlift, but I'm not an athlete. Like, that was my wife will tell me that. So that's why I'll throw it in there before she can. But yeah, so I think having flexibility, like forgiving yourself, like things like that, those are big keys.
It's major keys.
And then if you want to throw, like, if we're talking nutrition stuff, we talk about meal prepping and meal planning, but like really, I think Casey and I talk about this all the time on the podcast, but when it comes to meal planning and meal prepping, like make whatever you're doing simple and easy. Like the easier, the better. We talked about this, like we always do these like food drafts and everything like that. One of the common things that always pop up in the food drafts are like frozen vegetables, the instant microwavable, like steamable bags of like Uncle Ben's rice, packets of like flavored packets of tuna fish, like things like that are so grab and go and easy ways for you to stay on top of your nutrition. And you can take those things and make anything and make it taste good. Mm-hmm. But those are game changers for people. You know what I mean? So when it comes to meal prepping, find ways to make it easy, even if it's a little bit more costly, because you'd rather spend, let's say, rather than making like, I don't know, 2 pounds of rice on a Sunday or something like that, when you can grab one of these bags for $2 and throw it in the microwave for 90 seconds. And now you have your rice for your meal. Like spend the extra money, but it's just so much easier and so much more worth it.
If you could spend $5 more a week to make it fit your life better, you probably would do it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, what's like $20 extra a month or something like that. But in reality, that $20 a month might translate to, well, depending on who you are, right? I mean, that could translate to actually hundreds of dollars saved if it's medical stuff, right? Let's say you're somebody who's needs, like, physically needs to lose weight for your own health or something like that. Or, you know, one of your clients, for those of you that are listening that are coaches, dramatically needs to lose weight for their own health to lower their medical bills, you know, to get off their medications or whatever it is, you know, like, while it might seem like I got to pay an extra, like, however much that's like that, you know, per week on my grocery bill for convenience, like, yeah, but how much are you going to save further down the line, right?
Think about, like, just adherence and less stress and feeling better about checking boxes.
Exactly.
Also,
by the way,
I the question one, if you want to know more about easy and simple.
Yeah, there you go. Rewind, biatch. I mean that in a respectful way. Yes. Do you have time in a non-derogatory way? Always, Rob, dude. Time for a speed round? Always. Where are we at the baby monitor? We're looking. I'm checking right now, but I think I heard a noise before, but I think it was just the dogs next door. Oh, he's out cold, dude.
Nice.
He's out cold. Let's see if we can turn. Can you see the baby monitor if I turn it around for you?
I can see it. Yeah, he looks so small in that crib. Oh my god.
he's just a little guy.
We just took Sawyer. I'll save it for a little spoiler for Thursday. Shit, my kid did this week.
Amazing. Oh, I got some good ones too.
We switched Sawyer's bed from crib to big girl bed, and it's been a week, bro.
Has it? Nothing so scary. Nicholas just decided to mess around with his sleep schedule too, and it's killing me right now.
There's nothing scarier than looking at the doorway and there's a little human there. If you've seen Child's Play and Chucky movies, real life.
And does she have like a cool bed though? Does she have like a princess bed or anything like that, or is it?
But I want to get a Matchbox car bed,
like the race car.
Yeah.
But now is Sauce into the race cars and stuff like that, or like
she would be into a car. She'd have her own car. She'd be into it.
All right, because you got to find the thing that she wants. That's the key, though.
It'd be like a dinosaur or Elsa from Frozen.
Dude, yeah. When I was a kid, so when I got my first mattress, I realized we're almost at the speed round, so like we can be off topic completely.
Yeah,
anyways, right?
Yeah. There's nothing more useful in this.
The things that we, if you guys are listening for anything extra related to fitness and nutrition and whatever,
thank you for your
go find another podcast. Might I suggest some other ones for you? But no, when I was a kid, so my parents had this and it was my favorite thing. And I think you had talked about this at one point before and I had a hard time conceptualizing this, but I had this like mattress, I had this tent that would go on my mattress. So it was like a fitted sheet that tucked under, and then it had these tiny little plastic poles that created like literally a tent that I could sleep in. And it, like, even like the flap that would open in the front, like the whole 9 yards, it was like camping inside my room. I had a dinosaur one. It was the greatest thing that I ever had. I look back on it now. I'm like, if they made adult size ones of that, I'd do it. I don't even care. Even if Liz was like, no, we're not putting a king size indoor bed tent on our bed. We're adults. I'm like, cool. I'll just find a twin size bed to put somewhere else in the house and sleep there inside that thing. Like, I loved that tent. It was the greatest thing ever. I'm excited to get, when the little guy gets older and he gets his own bed, to get him one of those tents. The only downside is in the summer, it gets hot because it's like a plastic tent inside the house.
Yeah.
I mean, we have air conditioning, so it probably won't be too bad. But
small details.
My folks were stingy about the AC, man. They were real stingy about using the AC when I was young. So anyway, all right, speed round. Here we go.
We're raring for
here we go.
Okay.
What, well, the energy drink is finally kicking in. So I think anybody who's looking now, like the bags are still there. Whatever.
Still there. Yeah, they're still there.
Damn it. Somebody got some good eye makeup for me, like coverall or something.
Rob, kill, marry, fuck, squat, bench, deadlift.
You know the answers to all of that.
Kill, marry, fuck. Give it to me. I don't care. I know it.
First of all, I feel bad because you already gave this one to Tony, but it's all good. Tony B.
Listen, it's a good power.
It's a great one. It's a great one for us.
Lifters.
So here's where it's at. It's some of them fluctuate for me. The marry is always squat. Squatting is my favorite thing in the world. I love squatting. I'm pretty good at it. Even when even when I feel like I'm getting stuck with it sometimes, there's just something about squatting that makes me feel really, really good. That being said, the deadlift and the bench press go through, like, I have a love-hate relationship with the both of them at times. 1 minute, one is going really well. The other one is not so much. Right now, they're both feeling pretty juicy. But in general, if I had to give up one of them. So this is a hard one, right? Because like the deadlifts are feeling really good. They're feeling really fast right now. Like I'm loving it. But I have occasionally have done things if I'm not careful because of previous back injuries, as far as just load and intensity and being smart about it. I can tweak my back and it can lock up on me kind of bad, and that's just typically because my ego gets in the way. On the flip side of that, I have dropped a bench press on my face before and broken my nose. So the bench has a little bit of a thing. Not that that ever put any fear into me, but it, like, the bench physically hurt me before. So there's like, I'm kind of angry at it sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
so you hate fuck the bench, and
I hate fuck the bench, and I hate fuck the deadlift, I guess, but depends on what day. Like we have makeup sex a lot is what I would say. If you're asking me right now, like, it's funny because like I have short arms, so you would think that the bench press would be something that I'd be traditionally a little bit more inclined. Short arms, broad shoulders, like you'd think that that would be something I'd be traditionally pretty good at, and I'm pretty good at it respective to my size, but not great. I don't love it. I don't love the thing. So I probably would kill the bench and go deadlift and squat, because so much more of that is lower body right now. That being said, I'm waiting for like a squat push meet at some point, because it's all this push pull bullshit where the squat gets no love, and the squat's the only thing I'm friggin' good at. So like maybe I need to have this conversation with Tony, because I think he said something similar the other day to me. And maybe between the Strength House and Lift Positive, we can put together like some sort of virtual powerlifting meet where it's just squat bench only and no fucking deadlift.
Yeah, fuck your deadlift.
Screw the deadlift. Even though I feel like the deadlift's pretty good right now.
Fuck your deadlift.
fuck your deadlift. Right? Because that's the other thing. That's the thing that everybody puts up all these big numbers that everybody can deadlift, 90% of the time people can deadlift more than they squat. But I'm not that impressed by it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see you squat. Like, I want to see you squat.
Sit that ass down. I want to see you sit that ass back.
I'm just saying. I feel like this. I'll say this. I think the squat takes more skill and is much higher technical lift than the deadlift is. And so for that reason alone, I hate that the squat is the first one that gets pulled from powerlifting meets and shit like that. Like, fuck off. Fuck out of here with that.
Yeah, get that shit out of here.
Squat only meet. I'm fine with that too. Like, whatever we want to do. Squat only. Let's go.
What is the most useless piece of equipment in any gym? Doesn't need to be yours, just in any gym. You walk into a gym and you see something, you're like, well, fucking useless. Mine are 35-pound plates. They're fucking useless.
You know what? You're right. That's probably true. Like, I'm kind of like, there's two things I would probably get rid of. Three things I would get rid of, but two of them are similar. The 35-pound plates for sure, because like just have, this is all you need. Okay, for those of you that are listening who are thinking about setting up your home gym, you need weights and shit like that. You need a pair of 2.5s. You don't need them, but you need them. You need a pair of 2.5s. You need a pair of 5s. You need 2 pairs, 2 of 10s. That being said, you could also have 1 pair of 10s and 2 pairs of 5s, but 2 pairs of one of those two, either one of those. You need a pair of 25-pound plates, and then as many 45-pound plates as you can get your fucking hands on, because you're going to need them as you go. But at that point, you can make any 5-pound increment of weight. You do not need 35s. Furthermore, 35s don't have a name, right? This is the common joke that all of us powerlifters make, right? Because everything has a name. We got a 2.5-pound weight is a chip. A 5-pound weight's a nickel. 10-pound weight is a dime. 25, you guessed it, a quarter. And then a 45-pound plate is a plate or a wheel. What the fuck do you call a 35 outside of a 35? The only people that use 35s are gym bros, because it kind of looks bigger than a 25. And so when it comes to the ego, it's like, oh, that looks like it weighs more than if I put a 45, a 25, and a 10 on. That's not as impressive as a 45 and a 35. It's 205 pounds either way, you fucktards. But anyway, like, now I'm really getting spicy here.
I love this.
So yes, 35-pound plates can go fuck right off. They can go fuck right off. The other two are sort of interchangeable. And the worst part is, like, I have one of these, but there's very few uses for it, I feel like, for actual strength coaches. Better for physical therapists than strength coaches. But if it was up to me, I'd run around the gym and probably with a pair of scissors, even though I own one, and pop all of them, which is BOSU balls and stability balls. I can't stand either one of those things. I rarely use either of them. And if I were to use, I don't use any BOSU balls, because I just don't keep them in my gym, because I feel like that's a crutch for a lot of trainers. Like, oh, we'll just
like $100 plus a pop.
There's stupid money, and everything is just like, well, now we can add some instability to this. I'm like, you can add instability by just doing a single leg, fucking whatever it is. Like,
so you stand on one leg.
stand on one leg, just do a reverse lunge, a lateral lunge, a Bulgarian split squat, whatever kind of single leg exercises. Now you have balance work for your lower body, right? And the same thing with your upper body. Do some sort of like a 3-point plank or shoulder taps or whatever, if you want, like for up, it doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, like I rarely see a use for a Bosu ball for most people in a gym setting, especially for Gen Pop people. And often it's just a crutch for trainers to be like, look, it's harder now because it's this novelty aspect, and it's bullshit. And 90% of the time, it's a great way to get somebody injured. But more importantly, like you just get them stronger and they'll have better balance than they would ever get on a fucking Bosu ball. So get rid of the Bosu ball. And the stability ball, honestly, like there's a couple things you can do with it. But I'll say that most of what I can do with the stability ball, I can do with other implements in the gym. If I want to do some sort of a lying hamstring curl because I don't have a bunch of machines, furniture sliders / slide discs / versus slides, whatever you want to call them, work just as well for that stuff. Maybe like a pot stirring the plank thing, but again, you can do other kind of instability stuff with that. Really, stability balls, the best thing that they offer for trainers and coaches is something comfortable to sit on while your client is doing floor work. And let's be honest, it doesn't really look that professional, even though it's super comfortable. And I used to sit on that stability ball as well too. So I'd probably get rid of those 3 things. Even though you asked me one, I'm going to toss all 3 of them. And also, before you ask, yes, we have 35-pound plates in my gym. I hate them. I actually tried to buy the weights without the 35-pound plates, and the guy selling them to me was like, "Nah, you got to take them, dude." He's like, I mean, I'll keep them, but you're still going to pay me the same price. I was like, son of a bitch. Like,
I have 15-pound plates in my gym.
That's stupid, but I almost feel like, all right, cool. That's like, now at least that's kind of old school though. You know what I mean? Like
it's the bumper, the 15-pound.
Oh, yeah. So sometimes that's stupid too. That is stupid too, but
it is.
In reality, here's what you need for bumper plates.
They were on sale.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You bought them? You actually bought them?
I bought them. They're in my garage.
You personally bought them?
I personally bought them because they're from my garage bin.
Well, do you have, but here's my question. You have 15s. Do you have 10-pound bumper plates too?
Yeah. I have 10-pound.
Oh, that's stupid.
25-pound and 45-pound. And
did you get them in this? Is they come in the set? Is that how it worked?
No, they were just on sale. Like,
all right. So you just were like, all right, they're on sale. I'm going to buy them anyway.
They were like $1.
I don't have those in the gym. So
it was like too good to not buy in a pair.
If you're looking to buy stuff for your gym, bumper plates specifically, you only need 3 sizes. If you're competing in Olympic weightlifting or something like that, again, I'm talking average gym goers. If you're somebody who's competing in Olympic weightlifting, like, you probably need a full-on set of competition plates, right? Whatever. But for the average gym person, you need, you don't need, but let's say maybe somebody like who's not very strong wants to start to learn how to do things like deadlifts or whatever. Get yourself a pair of 10-pound bumper plates just for that reason. Get a pair of 25s because they're nice. And like, and again, unless you're pretty strong, that's a nice thick circumference that the plate sits on. So they're not going to get all wobbly like the 10-pound plates do when you load them on a barbell. And a pair of 45 or 55-pound bumper plates, but not both. You don't need both. You just need one or the other, right? Get those, you're golden. And then everything else is just adding metal plates to it. Don't get goofy. Bumper plates take up valuable space on the sleeve of your barbell. Like, it's stupid. Although they're much more easily available, like to get right now, just get those and then find iron plates. Don't be a tool bag who loads a barbell up with 4 bumper plates so that it's all the way to the sleeve, trying to look really cool. More importantly, unless you have a home gym and that's all you do, like that's all the weights you have. If you're working out at a commercial gym, you start throwing bumper plates on a barbell to squat or on a Smith machine. I've seen that one too. Get the fuck out. Just get the fuck out. Like, get the fuck out. Now you're trying to look cooler than you actually are.
I have one last speed round question for you, Robert.
Do it, dude. And then I'm gonna, if you don't ask me this question, I'm gonna answer it anyway. So there might be a 4th one that I'm gonna ask myself and then answer. But go ahead.
I just want to give you the floor to tell everyone listening to this podcast why the air fryer is elite.
Oh, that's not the question I thought you were going to ask me. So we're going to have an extra one after this, but cool. Why the air fryer is elite, and is better than anything else that Casey usually offers in our food drafts. So we also, hindsight, and again, you'll have to go, not hindsight, that's not the right word I'm looking for, but you'll have to go back and listen to some of these Healthy Parent podcast episodes.
But hear Rob and I go at it over air fryers.
We've done a draft on like essential cooking things, nutrition stuff, and the air fryer is my baby. I love that thing. And I'm somebody who really likes to cook. Like, I think I'm actually a pretty good cook, but for simplicity's sake, for tastiness sake, the air fryer is so clutch. For those of you that are listening who have an air fryer, you know what I'm talking about. When you put a piece of chicken in there, skin on, the chicken and the skin come out perfect. Nice crispy skin, super juicy, tender piece of chicken. Whereas when you bake it, that doesn't happen. Either it gets overcooked or the meat itself is nice and tender, but the skin is just kind of like, it's not crispy. You know what I mean? It's like the texture you get when you grill it, except you can be inside your house on a cold day. So the air fryer, especially for winter, is clutch. I love to grill, so I'll be out there on the grill. But the other thing that you can do is you can prep a lot of really good things in the air fryer, veggies, potatoes, whatever, and they come out money, and they do it in way less time, and there's no preheating your oven. Everything about the air fryer is phenomenal. No oil needed, none of that stuff. So it comes out really healthy as well. And the beauty of it also, I found the other day, is for reheating things. Man, you can reheat stuff in the air fryer and it comes out delicious. For those of you that don't know, let's say you order pizza and you want to reheat your pizza because you're not somebody who likes to eat cold pizza. You can reheat it in the microwave and the cheese gets nice and gooey, but the pizza itself is soggy. You could wait for the oven to heat up and then put the piece of pizza in the oven and wait for another 10 minutes. So now all of a sudden to have one slice of day-old pizza you waited like 30 minutes or whatever, however long it is, or you throw it in the air fryer for about 7.5 minutes, and that thing's going to come out so delicious. So pro tip, air fryer. That's what's up. Casey, you sold yet? You said you've had food from the air fryer and it was good too. So
it was good. Yeah.
Oh boy. The little guy just woke up. All right. I'm going to give you guys one quick thing and then I got to run because he just started screaming.
Real quick.
Casey never asked me this. He knows I'm an energy drink fiend, but he never asked me this. But he has asked, if you go back through the old shows, Wes Showalter this, top 3 energy drinks. So I'm a big Rockstar fan. Rockstar's probably my number one most consumed energy. So I'm going to go Rockstar Grape.
Yo, turn that monitor down, bro.
Is it real loud? All right, everybody's hearing the
poor kid is like
somebody thinks I'm like murdering my baby here. All right, so let me go ahead and turn the volume.
He's a healthy one. He's a healthy one.
He's got some lungs on him. So we're going to go top 3 energy drinks, okay? I was going to say no particular order, but I'm going to go particular order. The Grape Zero Rockstar energy drink. Legit fire. Next is the Mandarin Orange Rockstar energy drink. Also good. Way better. Also Rockstar 10 times greater than Monster Energy. Okay. First of all, way more caffeine, which is nice. 240 milligrams of caffeine to 160. So you got another 80 milligrams right there. And the third one, if you really need some extra pick me up, one of the flavors that I just found, I think it's kind of new from Rain energy drink. I won't drink Bang because I'm not really a big fan of the CEO and all the bullshit marketing that they do and everything else with that guy. But Rain came out with a new one, cherry limeade, and that shit is fuego. It's delicious.
Okay.
If you can't get your hands on the cherry limeade, go with the Orange Dream. That's like a creamsicle flavor. Orange Dreamsicle, it's called. It's orange vanilla. Real good.
Boom.
On that note, I should probably go rescue the baby because he is freaking.
Yes.
And thank you, Casey. I'll see you in 2 days, dog.
Yes, you will. Appreciate you, man. Take it easy.
Later, brother.